Welcome back to just another guy talking about stuff. Today, we're talking about Civilization VII. Now, full disclosure right out of the gate, the Civilization diehards out there probably don't even consider me a real player. I've only ever played Civ VI and Civ VII, and I've only played them on the Switch consoles. I'm currently running the Switch 1 version via backward compatibility on my Switch 2. So, if you're looking for a 5,000-hour grandmaster strategy breakdown, you're in the wrong place. But if you're a novice curious about 4X games, or just a guy playing from the couch with a controller, here's my perspective. Let's start with what I actually like. Breaking the game into distinct ages keeps things moving and stops the late game from getting stale. And honestly, the biggest sigh of relief? They completely removed builders. Not having to micromanage those little guys across a massive map is a huge win for console players. I'm also a big fan of a new influence system. It feels like a much cleaner way to handle leader cooperation without getting bogged down in endless diplomacy menus. Now, let's talk about the most controversial feature, civilization switching. I actually really like that you can change up your strategy as every age progresses. What I don't love is that you have to completely change your empire to do it. It feels like you should be able to shift your focus without suddenly turning into a completely different historical empire. However, the new crises at the end of each age actually save this mechanic for me. Dealing with those negative buffs adds a great layer of gameplay strategy. It makes the decision to change your civ after an age transition feel a lot more meaningful. When it comes to combat, Civ VII introduced commanders to move entire armies at once. Yes, it declutters the board, and yes, it means less micromanaging. But honestly, it feels way less intuitive than just linking units together like we did in Civ VI. I constantly find myself in situations where I feel like I should be able to attack or use a ranged attack, but I can't, and I have no idea why. Outside of cleaning up the map, I just don't feel like commanders add anything to the combat. Then there's the trading system, which is just flat-out confusing. Pair that with the severely limited options for interacting with city-states, and the economic side of the game feels like a step backward. That brings us to the new town system. I actually enjoy the strategic change it brings to the table, but it comes with a weird trade-off. It feels like it gives you a lot less to do on a turn-by-turn basis. On top of that, trying to wrap your head around all the different town types can get genuinely overwhelming, especially when you're just trying to manage the basics of your empire. Finally, let's talk about how this game actually runs and looks on the Switch. The graphics are totally fine. It looks good enough for what it is. But the UI? It seems absolutely awful. Playing this with a controller is a chore, and the resource menu is hands down the worst offender. Trying to navigate that specific screen on a Switch is an exercise in frustration. At the end of the day, Civ VII has some great ideas that make the game more accessible, but the UI and some of the combat mechanics really hold it back on console. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.